Hi, class. I hope you are being good to Mr. Stokes. Thanks, Mr. Stokes, even though it's probably the sixth time you've heard me say that today. Today we are going to, hopefully you are set up, you have your vocab, and things are ready to go. I know there's a lot of vocab today, but it's your last vocab, which reminds me we have a test Thursday. So we will review tomorrow. Today we're going to go over the last section for the test, which is the evidences or the clues that support the theory of evolution. So the reason I have this screen up right now is just a quick review of the natural selection, what it is and the 5 principles. So I just want everyone to quietly, I'm going to awkwardly pause and stare at the screen. But I want everyone to take about 30 seconds. I'll even time it on my timer here. And I would like you to reread this slide twice. In fact, I'll cover my face to make it better. But I want everyone for 30 seconds to reread this slide twice. Go. Keep rereading, no talking in your head. Okay, you made it, and I'm back. So that's natural selection. Remember the N in main. M is for mutation. If that mutation is positive, it turns into an adaptation. If that adaptation becomes to a majority of the population, nature selected it to be permanent, so it's natural selection. And then E is if a new species results at the end. Today our main focus is the clues on evolution. So if it's such a big theory or so many people believe in it, there's got to be a lot of evidence. And these are some bigger words, but if you guys break apart the words like we've talked about, it's not that bad. The first one, that's a little reminder, the word homology, look at the first 4 letters. Homo, and we guys have learned that homo means same. So guess what? Anything with homology in it has something being the same between species. So it's resulting, so remember the theory of evolution says that we all came from a common ancestor. Everything, anything living on this planet came from the same ancestor. So homologous structure, again, homo means, I don't know if you guys can, yeah, you can. Homo means same, and then structure, if you guys remember structure and function, it's like the way something looks. So it's probably similarities between, well, the way things look. In this case, it's body parts. So homologous structures are body parts that are similar in origin, meaning where they're located, like arms are attached to the shoulder, and structure can also be similar in function or how they work, but it doesn't have to be. So if you look here on the screen, this is one of my favorite pictures of a homologous structure. All of these organisms in this picture right here have a humerus, meaning upper arm bone, 2 forearm bones, and 5 phalanges. I mean, the phalanges look different here, if you can tell the horse. But all of these have similar bone structure. Why in the world would Mr. Whale here have an arm? He doesn't use an arm. He has a flipper. It's because the theory of evolution states that a whale evolved to move into the water, and it used to be a land animal. So homologous structures, body parts that are similar in where they're located and what they look like. Can be similar in function too. So I'll let you guys think about that. The next one. So, and then here's my example again. Human arm, cat leg, whale flippers, and bat wings all have the same bones. It's crazy. Science is fun. Cellular homology, again, before I even look at the definition, homology means similarity within something. I see cell, and it's probably having something to do with cells. What's located in cells in the nucleus? Our instructions, our DNA. So this is, again, going back to our genetic code. Again, if we all came from the same ancestor, my guess is we have the same instructions to a point, the same DNA. So cellular homology is similar DNA can suggest a common ancestor. Genes and proteins are shared among organisms that have common ancestors. So, go to the next slide. An example is insulin, which is a very known medicine for diabetes. Insulin is a protein created by the pancreas. And if a human pancreas is not working, humans can actually inject insulin from other mammals, even cows or pigs. And the body thinks it's their own because genetically it's similar. So cellular homology. Okay, ready? This is the fun part. Try not to look ahead. So, according to that, if everything on this planet started as the same ancestor, that means some part of our DNA has similarities. The closer we are in relation, like relatives, the closer you are, the more DNA you have in common. The further apart you go within a species, even outside of a species, the further apart their DNA. So, how much do you think we have in common with a banana? It's a living thing, which means according to evolution, we have to be related to it in some way. Guesses? Anybody? 50%. Humans have 50% of their genetic code in common with a banana. I'll let you think about that for a second. So you're related to a banana. 50% of you is. What about a fruit fly? Those little things that are always on fruit and strawberries and flying around your house, and you're like this all the time. Guesses? 60% in common with a fruit fly. Okay, what about a mice? Those little mice, mousy long tails, so cute. Little mice. How much do you think you have in common with a mouse? 85. That one kind of shocked me a bit. It's crazy. You have 85%. The exact same instructions to make a mouse is the same to make a human. 85%. What about other humans? How much of our genetic code? Because some of you are very different looking and personality than me. So how much do we have in common? According to this, 99%. So that's cellular homology, similar DNA. So again, going backwards. Well, actually, I'll keep going forward. That's cellular homology. Vestigial organs. I know I'm a nerd, but my personal favorite of the evidences. A vestigial organ, a structure that no longer seems to have a function, no longer works, but served an important function in one of your ancestors' lives. So it worked for us in the past before we evolved. Common ones for humans are appendix, tonsils, wisdom teeth. Those in theory used to work and have a purpose. The theory behind the appendix is it used to digest raw meat. We obviously don't eat raw meat and can get sick now, so it doesn't work. In fact, it just causes us problems. So a lot of times they get removed. I'm guessing you guys know someone who has had their appendix removed. I am one. So that is a vestigial organ. I always say if you don't like your vest anymore, you get rid of it. So the theory behind a vestigial organ is also they will eventually go away. So you guys have a tailbone, an appendix. If we keep evolving like we are, those will actually just not be there anymore. So every generation, they're slightly being removed. So that's a vestigial organ. Ones that are not us to think about is pelvic bones. So manatees, whales, and snakes do not have back legs, but they have pelvic bones. A pelvic bone is used for your legs to attach to. It's your pelvis, your hip. So look at the pictures here. Okay, they don't have legs, but they have something for legs to go into. Because again, the theory is they're vestigial organs and they used to have a purpose. They used to hold legs. These animals used to walk on land. So that's a vestigial organ. Miss Kirchner's favorite. My memory trick is if you don't need a vest, you throw it away. Comparative embryology. Before you panic, I know a big word. Comparative, you're comparing. Embryology, an embryo is like when you're growing in your mom's belly. It's a stage of development. It's called an embryo. So DNA still has how you're made. So when you're being grown in your mother's stomach or when any organism's being made, there are similarities in the embryos or the developmental stages of organisms. So while they're growing, there's similarities between the stages of development. And this one always freaks me out. So examples, fish, reptiles, birds, and mammal embryos all have gill slits during development, but only fish actually keep them. The rest have the gill slits turn into lungs. So that means you had gills at one time during development in your mama's belly. They did not work, so don't get excited, but you did have gills. So if you look at this picture right now, these are all embryos. Look how alike they look. And that is a human, a bird, a reptile, and a fish, all at a certain stage of development, and they all have gill slits. So that's comparative embryology. Again, if you look at the terms, don't get panicked. So those are the stages. So there's comparative embryology, looking at the developmental cycles and similarities between species. There is vestigial organs, organs that used to have a purpose but no longer have a purpose. There is cellular homology, similar DNA, similar instructional patterns between organisms. The more similarities they have, the more related they are in terms of evolution. And where's my last one over here? Homologous structures, body parts that are similar in origin and structure, can be similar in function too. So, what I'd like you guys to do right now, Mr. Stokes, it's up to you with the behavior of this class, but you can choose to give them a 2-minute brain break. I normally let them go on what they want as long as they are done in 2 minutes. Maybe give them a 10-second countdown. If they're not well behaved, they can go right on to this next section. So right now, I'd like you guys to red, yellow, green your notes. Everybody. Green means you won't ever have to look at it again. You will have it down for the test. Yellow means I understood what she was saying, but I don't have it permanent yet. I need to look over it a few more times. And red means I don't get it. I'm confused no matter how many times you repeat it. So you need it repeated in a different way. So please red, yellow, green each one of these. And then you can make sure you understand main. So you guys red, yellow, green interact with your notes, and then Mr. Stokes the rest of the time they are to work on their vocab visuals and their review sheets. So they're studying for the test. Depending on behavior, you can have them work by themselves or with a partner, one other person. No pod today. So again, notes, which you guys have already done. Red, yellow, green. Brain break if behavior is okay. And then it's vocab visuals or studying for the test using the review sheet. You guys have a test Thursday. We will review tomorrow. Have a great day, and thanks for being awesome. Bye. How do I stop this? This is